like the center that really is all encapsulating is the way that in our desire to be significant and unique, we end up making our lives totally fucking meaningless. So that's like with women thinking that the way they be unique is by being like a man. Same thing for men. Same thing for everybody. Just wants to be part of the movement, right? And in that you lose all of your significance. Same thing with trying to be the star of your show. You end up trying to do this fucking thing that never works out. You just end up being a slave. All that stuff.
Yeah, cool. Asif, just turn your mic down a little bit. Is kind of loud.
Cool.
Okay, so going from here, then like.
So first thing, as soon as for anybody listening, if you just tuned in right now. Like, subscribe, share before you even start, because you're probably still on your phone. You're ready to go do the dishes, ready to go do the groceries, clean out, whatever you're doing. Now's the time. Just go boop, 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 share it, pop, pop, and then enjoy.
Only because your glowing face told me to do it.
Cool.
For some reason, no matter where you are, as if your face is always just like glowing.
No, dude, I was looking at you guys, right? So it's like, when you guys, I noticed Mitchell from when you guys moved into the house, when you would do videos, he'd always be so well illuminated. I was like, oh, I got to set my desk up in front of the window. So now that's the case. Before it wasn't something. Oh, you know what? Anyways. Okay. So
you're just naturally fairly glowing.
Like, subscribe, comment, and share.
For Jess's see-through glasses. Is the frame like the frame of it? Those lenses are see-through.
Everyone wants to hear the podcast.
Oh, not bad, buddy. Good.
Yeah.
Oh! For those of you who didn't notice, Cameron has been abducted, so he won't be joining any more podcasts. He's gone. He's gone from the plan.
Yep.
So on with the podcast. He was
the first one. We knew it was inevitable. So
exactly. So we just forget about it.
We just got to keep
means
going.
more than I thought.
Yeah, dude, getting canceled is like.
Yeah. This is 2021 cancel.
Exactly.
That 2020 cancel.
So
with that being said,
look at us still going. I love it.
Yeah. Unstoppable.
Here's the fascinating point that we're seeing. You're seeing it so much more, and it's happening right in front of our faces. My hypothesis is it's being, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but okay. When I wanted to be an actor, okay.
Let's reflect back.
Let's take a moment. Okay.
I'm thinking of that one episode of that one TV show where I saw you holding a casket.
I thought he's holding a gun.
I don't know.
The rumors. Hollywood is crazy.
So Asif, when you were thinking about being an actor, is this like when you were a teenager about to be an actor, or was this like little kid Asif?
Or is this like you actively pursuing a career as an adult as an actor? Like what do you mean?
So check me out. I'm not a rapper.
Wait, rapper or
rapper? You ever watch that video, the rap battle?
No.
I'm not a rapper. Okay, I'll show you guys.
Are you talking about an actor or a rapper?
He's talking about a meme. Forget
about it. Everybody let it go. Okay. I only started like acting when I was like, I don't know, like 20 or something like that. And it was something that people were telling me throughout my life that I should do. So that already tells you that it's like my pre-programmed place in the system. You know what I'm saying? But I use that as an indicator of, oh, dude, maybe I'd be good at this. You know, I've been lying to people my whole life, like making up stories and keeping the straight face. Like, oh yeah, like the way I got this in my eyebrow, like, you know, I got into a big fight. It's like, fuck off. No, you didn't. I'm like, no, seriously. Like it was actually really bad. And yeah, like it's okay. Like, and then people will be like, oh, dude, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I got to play rugby. Like, you know, whatever. So I would always do that, right? And so people be like, you asshole. Like, you got me, man, you should be an actor, right? So I use that as an indicator of like, okay, like I always dismissed it until when I was 20, it's like, I was in all the gym stuff. I was like, okay, I'm only going to take this one piece of information that he's saying, feel good now, just do what feels right, right? And you know, it's really interesting. Cameron pointed out this perspective on feel good now. Our automatic assumption is that good is like blissful, like happiness, right?
Yeah.
But when you say, like, when somebody thinks like, is that a good person? What are they thinking of?
The actions they do.
Right. Like, are they a are they doing the right things kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why
Feeling
don't we
good.
interpret feel good now as like, feel like you're doing the right thing, like the best thing for the world now?
Holy fuck. That's
Mhm.
so cool. That's so cool because I never actually considered it that way.
Mhm.
I always thought of it, but it's so clear, right? Of like, feel good. Like, why do you want to feel good? Because you want to feel like you're doing the right thing.
Right.
But like we think of it as we want to feel like we're doing the right thing, as in we're going on the right path and like everything's going to work out for us, not like doing the right thing as in this is the right thing to do, as in this is what's best, as in this is what would make the world best. We're
Because
thinking of it like, oh, somebody reassure me, and that's feel seriously though, isn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I
We're
would
looking at it as if it's subjective.
right. And here's the thing, right? Somebody asked, like, isn't doing cocaine feeling good now? And he just kind of says, like, don't do coke, right? But if you just follow the words feel good now as do whatever makes you feel good, right? That is not differentiating between whether you should do coke or not, whether you should beat somebody into line, or what I'm saying? Like, that's not actually differentiating. Versus the thing that does make it work is, which he does say later in the training, is you have to know what you're doing is right.
Mhm.
You have to know what you're doing is right. That is what fits in with feel good now. Feel good as in feel like you are living your life forthrightly now, so that you can be proud of it.
Mhm.
Dude,
Yeah.
how would anyone understand this if they're not actively building their vocabulary, and reopening that natural learning ability? Like, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I had listened to these trainings so many fucking times
I
before.
never even thought of it, right?
Never would have considered that. Never would have considered that. And it was so interesting because, like, I would just keep going back into the same loop or the same frame or the same line of thinking of everything. And so sometimes it was interesting because sometimes I would hear new things, listening to the same audio, you hear something new and it's like, oh, I didn't hear that the first time. Yeah, but I would still place it in the same context as everything else. I would never even consider it in that way. And so it's cool because now there's so many things where I'm just like, well, in what context do you mean that? Like, what does that actually mean?
Right.
What are you trying to, like, I've heard that phrase many times before, but let's break that down. And you bringing this forth is like, fuck, how did I not see that? That's so clear.
Same. I didn't see it either. And that's the interesting thing. It's like, I remember listening to your Wishes You Command how many times, right? But like when you pick up something new because you listen to it again, kind of thing, did it ever really change what you were doing? Weren't you like, oh, this makes sense, I should go more into what I'm doing, right?
Well, isn't that fascinating? Because we were kind of talking about this earlier. Like, we have this worldview and we think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be an actor, and then I'm gonna try and fit everything else into that, or like I'm gonna just feel good in this type of way that I was pre-programmed for, and I'm gonna try and make everything else kind of fit into that. But that's that same thing. It's like you're just a pre-programmed robot going through reality, fulfilling, your spot within the system, instead of actually taking that responsibility to slow down. Wait, hold on. What am I accepting? What am I allowing? And is that actually the best thing? And then you get yourself to actually change. That is like, I mean, that's everything right there, that moment.
That point, if we really just look at it. So let's go back to that point of KT saying, you have to know what you're doing is right. What do we do with that? We look at what we're doing and we're like, okay, is this right?
I'm gonna force it.
Sorry. Yeah. Let me correct what I said. We don't look at if it's right. We say, okay, how is this right?
How can I justify
the way that it's right? Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you have to know what you're doing is right. Okay, cool. So let me come up with all the reasons why this is right. Okay, cool. Rather than being like, okay, is this right? What does that mean? I never, ever even just been like, okay, what do I mean by right? We just accept some idea of what we have of right. And we just try to live that out, right?
So you know what right should be in that context? It's like,
when you turn right instead of left. Like, are you turning right? If you're turning left, then what are you doing?
Da, 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 da.
Oh shit, my bad, dude. Vocabulary. my bad.
But like, okay, if you're doing math, right? When you look
Fuck
at
is that, dude?
right,
Like,
is this right? When you're looking at it, you're going, okay, you're working backwards. You're not justifying why you got the right answer. It's not like it's 5 and it's 5 because I said it's 5.
and I'm
like,
gonna change
I
the
feel good
formula.
about it
you
being
change
5.
yeah, exactly. You change the formula, you change the equation. It's like, and that's how you make it 5. But
Right.
I
That's so
seriously see students doing that who are not good at math. They'll do that. They're like, well, because if I just put this 5 here, it's 5. And I'm like, that's not how you check your work. That's not how you see if it's right.
damn. That's a good point.
I actually have to work it out mathematically and
Mhm.
work it backwards most of the time to see, does everything lead to, yes, this is correct. It should be the same way logically for deciding if what you're doing is right or best or logical. You should be able to work it out mathematically. And that's what I love about, we talk about on occasion that math is vocabulary, right? But what does math actually mean? It's just the logical working out. It's like it's a scientific or logical steps in working out something.
It's a way of thinking.
It is a way of thinking.
So if you look at it in the context of your life, A is this action plus B, which is this action, gives you C, which is this output. So you investigate and you see, is this the output that is actually supporting all life? If not, let me look at which factor I need to change. Like if B is, you look at each individual A and B and you say, okay, well, B is actually compromising for this point, right? Or A is compromising for this point. Then you can switch it out. Maybe put in F. Ooh,
Ooh,
you just
shit.
put F in there. Now you got A plus F equals G. Whoa, it's totally different. But you still have A. Maybe both factors are totally not supporting life. And you switch it out and you got X plus W equals Y. And now your entire life looks differently. But the thing is, so many people, one, are not willing to look at mathematically how their life is affecting the world. Because
Yes.
all they can see is, I want to do A or I want to do B because it makes me feel good now.
Mm.
And then they aren't willing to, not only are they not willing to look at them, but then even the thought of changing one of those things gets people so overwhelmed that they crawl into bed and they watch Netflix for 6 hours.
Mhm.
That's the reality that we live in.
Yeah.
Zach? Mitch, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, that's what's up, because like
That's what's up.
for anyone who doesn't know, so in Jess's example, right? Let's say X plus W equals Y. In Y, we can actually say with certainty, you can prove how Y means that everyone's got their needs met. Like everyone's got clothes, water, clean water, right? Food, basic nutrition, basic education, so that they can understand, that they could tune into this podcast and perceive the intended meaning of all of our words. Like they can
Mhm.
understand.
Mhm.
That is the output that we're all about. And I make that very clear, because when we talk about best for all, and people hear that thrown around, like sometimes we don't necessarily know, well, what does that actually mean? How would you know it's best and all that? And I mean, we talk about this in basically every podcast, but which output is it going to be where that everyone in the world at least has the basic needs met? And then that opens up a whole new set of math problems. Then it's like, okay, how do we go colonize space or whatever? Or how do we figure out how to not pollute the environment so horribly? And so it's like, that's what that practically looks like. But we're all absolutely spot on that there's different variables that goes into that.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught up too much in okay, but like, so just to clarify, like what Mitch is talking about is first we need to reach this very basic level
Yeah.
where human beings aren't just dying for no fucking reason. Then
That's
all
so-
your assumptions about humanity, if we lived in a system that wasn't directly competitive, they would be wrong. So don't try to think about what things would be like and what we would do in a system where nobody's competitive and nobody has to fight for survival, because you don't know what that looks like yet.
Mhm,
We have the first step to focus on, right?
mhm.
Now, going back to what Jess is saying about how you want to be able to look at things very objectively and look at the output and be like, okay, where is this output coming from? A plus B. If the reason why you wouldn't be able to do that is because of feelings and emotions.
Mhm.
So if you look it up, one of the definitions of emotion, you just look it up on Google, don't take my word for it, right? But it's an instinctive or intuitive feeling. So in other words, a feeling that comes natural to you as opposed to or as distinguished from reasoning and knowledge. That means, in other words, when you can't think of a reason for why you're doing something, you just feel stuff. That's literally in the definition of the word. So the point is, the thing that will keep you from being able to see things objectively, then change what you're inputting into yourself or the thing that you're doing so that you get a different result, is that you're emotional about the point. Now, that's why I want to take it back exactly what Jess was saying to the acting point. It's like, so I got on this train and I was taking the whole feel good now, like, oh my God, this feels so right. I'm thinking about being an actor. And what am I thinking of? What am I thinking of when I'm thinking of being an actor?
Going down the red carpet.
Being a movie
and
star.
all
Right,
the
exactly.
people
Being
staring
exactly.
at you and
Right.
all the money in your bank account.
Exactly. And at that time I was single. I was like, oh my God, all the ladies, and oh, so really so easy, right? That's all I'm thinking about. But then I'm like, and that's how I'm gonna make a difference. Let's slow down real quick. Do you see that? Our brain works in a reverse engineering fashion. First, at a quantum speed. What's a quantum speed? It's like you are not even perceiving what's being presented to you as thoughts. At the quantum level, your brain's feeding you your thoughts, and then you're thinking, okay, it's either this or it's this. When in reality, if you had more information in that quantum system of yours, hence TechnoTutor, you would see way more variables. Exactly. Rep the set. Rep it. But my point is, you would see way more variables. You would see way more options rather than it's either I do this and I live, or I don't do this and I die. Like you're trying to threaten my survival by telling me I can't be a motherfucking actor. I tell you, like there were a lot of intense phone calls with Cameron when he was like, "Can you explain to me how this is going to make a difference?" Right? I'm like, you just don't get it, dude. Like, right? But we'll talk about what Drake, what you were talking about before this point about what you have to do in order to be successful. Because I want to be clear, especially with you guys. I couldn't even consider that. But we'll get to that after. So my point is, in terms of the reverse engineering method that your brain works, is I already decided the thing that would make me feel really fucking good and just really feed my ego and make me feel like, oh shit, like I'm fucking living life. And I'll tell you, every single person that I told that I was an actor, when they asked you, what do you do? I'm an actor. They were always like, oh my God, like, please don't forget me. Like when you're people just loved knowing that I was an actor. Think about the significance that gave me. Every single person, every family member, my cousins, everything. It's like, oh, when you're famous and all that stuff, I'm like, you know, I'm like, oh, please, you know. Within myself, I'm like, oh, I'm super modest, all this stuff. Like, what? Like, I'm actually just doing it because, like, I truly want to help this planet. That's where self-honesty comes in. Nobody can be self-honest for you. No matter what somebody says, you won't even accept it if it's the truth, unless you're willing to be self-honest. So I'm out here already have my decision made of like, I'm gonna be a fucking actor because I shot my first film, I got paid for it, I've met the famous actor. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like they're just feeding me, they just fucking feed you. Like the free food galore, right? And I love food. So it's like free food galore. You feel like special. They always want to treat the actors so well. So then I was like, okay, how do I fit everything that I've learned with TechnoTutor, all that stuff, into what I'm doing?
Hmm.
Not change myself to fit what I want, the purpose of actually having the biggest impact in the world. How do I change my why or my reasons to explain why I could just do what I do? Which is
Wow.
that point of feel good now. Okay. Or sorry, you have to know what you're doing is right. I'm like, okay, so I know I want to be an actor. Okay, how is me being an actor the fucking best thing that I could do in my life? Then just cycle those reasons, write about it every fucking day. Anytime I get depressed, I just fucking write about why it's the best thing, all that stuff.
Asif, why is that more comfortable? Like explain that to me, where you getting to fit what you already wanted to do into a little box and justify it is more comfortable than investigating what else you could have been doing.
Before this process, anybody listening, right? Before this process, how much did you really look in to your past and your childhood and how it plays into the decisions that you're making today in the life
None.
path that you're choosing?
None.
I actually
Unless
did.
I did an
very little.
exact decision that I had observed somebody else in my family make,
Hmm.
and I could
Right.
see it in front of me and be like, oh, I got that from them. But then that was it. I just justified it and kept moving forward.
Right.
I actually could see for myself how a lot of my past actually produced who I am, but I was also like I felt like there was nothing I could do about it.
Right. Like, you know, that point of like, okay, you figure it out and you're like, oh, that's why I am the way I am. Okay. Got it.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay.
Ah,
That's as far as I know.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
It's a really
that's
great point.
why I am the way I am, but that's who I am.
That's exactly.
My past is who I am. This is why I sometimes get depressed, because in middle school, I was made fun of so much and I continued to get bullied through high school and I wanted to kill myself. I attempted to kill myself and I just absolutely hated life for so long that sometimes, even now, when I have somewhat of a direction, I just sometimes feel depressed.
Right.
Dude,
It's
100%.
justified.
100%. Right.
It's just who I am. I am depressed sometimes.
Right.
Dude, literally exactly what you said. I've heard that story so many times. And for myself, I was like, yeah, sometimes I go through these bouts of depression. That's just what I have to live with.
Mhm.
That's what, no. I wasn't thinking about it like that. That's what I was saying to myself, but I was like, this is what everybody goes through.
Yeah.
Of course. Right.
Everybody has to relive their past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the literal acceptance of being a robot. Like imagine a robot being like, okay, like imagine going through a manufacturing facility and it's like putting all the pieces into you. And then as you're outputting, and let's say you got programmed to murder, right? You got up, you jump on the guy, you murder him. You're like, I murdered another one. You're like, this is kind of fucked up. You're like, oh, and then you have a memory come in your head of like, oh no, I remember that murder program got put into me. Oh, I guess I have to keep murdering. Okay, all right.
Yes.
It's like, that's kind of how we're treating it, right? I
It's
know,
literally the same thing.
like not the murder per se, but I'm just saying, for example, right?
Mhm.
We do something, we look back at where it came from. That's the extent of our personal reflection,
Mhm.
right? Because generally speaking, the average person probably doesn't give a fuck, right? Like they don't reflect. I'm like, okay, everyone's doing it, cool. But it's like we were the woke ones, and we reflect on our past because we're so introspective and so cool, right? Then we're like, okay, cool. Now I know what I'm doing, and I'm aware. It's the idea that awareness is the solution,
mhm.
right? Just because I'm aware, that means I'm a good person. So I know why I do it. So I'm going to keep doing it.
That's such a great point. And so like going to that point of like you've already made a decision, because this kind of really hits with what we were talking about earlier before we started recording, was like you've already made a decision. And so it feels like anything that is the only other decision that you're making is death, right? It's
Yes.
like this
Yes.
or death, this, or you're taking my life away from me. You're taking who I am away from me. You can't do that. And so it's like
I'm justified to have my opinions. I'm justified to
Right.
live the way I want to because I'm an individual and I have choice.
My life.
Plus, I'm just here temporarily, and then I'm going somewhere better after I die. So it's not really a big deal.
Or my existence just ends and that's a wrap. So it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be reincarnated as a frog.
Now we know what Jess always wanted to be.
Jess turns into the prince. She's that prince in that story.
Oh my gosh! It said 7 years. You know, I read that story. when I was-
7-year journey to frog.
But
No, my first
Yeah,
7
what-
years. I had always wanted to.
it's
Be a frog.
I was looking at this morning of how people will say they stand up for what they believe in. And the reason why I was thinking about this is because I was watching somebody interviewing this like Catholic priest or whatever. And this priest was like, they were asking him,
red flags everywhere.
yeah, they were asking
anybody else
him.
Was
that
this a
reaction?
private interview or were there other people?
Yeah.
I think it was like,
Was
Maybe
this
that's my
recorded or just audio recorded?
it was but they were asking him like how he felt about those politicians who claim to be Catholic, and it was like a really, like surface level from our perspective, right? But the point still remains. They were asking him about people who claim to be Catholic, but then they are pro-choice or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And he was making
Not
the
to
point.
name any specific individuals who said this during the last election. Not to name any specific individuals, guys.
I think they were specifically naming.
We don't need to point to anybody.
Too late,
No
I already did
pointing
it.
fingers.
Drake, do you want to get deplatformed like Cameron did?
I'm not gonna say the
I'm
names.
not
but you can
associated
say the
with this.
names.
We're all headed
Yeah, I'm
there
not
eventually.
associated.
But they were asking him about that specifically, and he was making this interesting point of there's this idea that there's an unspoken mutual agreement or whatever that you can keep your religion so long as you keep it private, right? That's how our society views religion. Is like you can be whatever religion you want as long as you do that in your house and you're quiet about it and you don't share that.
You don't impose that on other people. Or,
Right. But he was saying like the basic tenets of Christianity is you're supposed to share it with other people. Like that's what you're supposed to do is share it with everyone. Right.
If you're supposed to do what Jesus did, you're literally supposed to speak in front of thousands of people. You're supposed to go to town and share the good news. You're literally supposed to be a disciple,
Good news.
which means literally actively finding other people to join the cause and to support more people
You might even start
to
a
find
podcast.
it.
Right.
You might even be labeled a cult. You
Exactly.
might even be hated and shit on Facebook. You might even have people text you every day saying, "I'm really worried about you," or saying, "You should use your platform for other things. You should join my multi-level marketing company because you would be great."
I can't handle that stress, dude. I'm just gonna join their MLM, dude. I can't do it.
I'm just gonna go be an actor.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going back.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, bring it back.
But the point of it was basically, look, he also said this nice quote of, we shouldn't impose on others, but we should propose to others, right?
Ooh.
Meaning like you can't force your ideas or beliefs or whatever on somebody else, but you can share them with other people, right?
Mhm.
And what I was looking at specifically within this was, how can you, quote unquote, stand up for what you believe in, right? Because we're all told this as children, or at least I and a lot of other people I know were told you should stand up for what you believe in, right?
Mhm.
How can you stand up for what you believe in and at the same time respect the opinions of others?
Okay, here we
Especially
go.
if those opinions go against what you believe in. And I'm going to take it a step further, right? It shouldn't be what you believe in,
Overshared, buddy.
Mm.
because if it's your belief versus their belief,
Oh God.
then what does it matter? It's like it's an opinion versus another opinion,
Mhm.
right? But
So can you specify that a little bit more? Why that is like kind of stupid or irrelevant?
But Drake, why is a belief an opinion?
Shared, buddy.
it's an opinion because, like, obviously it's got the word lie in it. No, but obviously, if you believe it, that doesn't make it so. That doesn't make it true.
Mhm.
Like, you don't believe that.
Gravity is real.
Exactly. You don't believe that if you drop this pencil or whatever you're holding in your hand, right? You don't believe that if you drop your phone right now, that it's going to.
Yo,
You
let's
know
do an
it.
exercise.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Have you guys done the pinky in the ear test?
No,
Yeah,
what is
what
it?
that?
Tell me. Okay, I'm ready. Exercise. Everybody.
Okay.
Get ready.
You don't literally have to exercise. Actually, go put on some shorts. Yeah, that's a good
No,
idea.
I want to do the thing. Let's do the thing.
Okay, so put your pinky in your ear. Okay.
Both or
Pinky.
just one?
No, just one is good. Okay, now take it out. Okay, put it down. Okay. So you three. Okay, and just walk it through, okay? I bet you $10 that you can't put your pinky in your ear.
I'll take that. back.
Okay, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I'll take the bet.
Okay, I bet you $100 that you can't put your pinky in your ear.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
take
taking
that.
that bet.
I bet you $1,000 that you can't put.
I'll take that bet.
Give me
Yeah.
that.
You guys are cocky motherfuckers. Okay, all right. Let me see.
$1 million? I'll
I'll
take
bet
that.
No, no,
bet.
no, no. Hold on,
free
hold on.
Bitcoin.
Are you down for $1 million? Okay, would you actually go for $1 million?
Yeah, let's
doing
do
No, no,
it.
no, no. Okay, hold on. I'm actually serious.
Please.
I'm actually serious. I'll bet you $1 million. And if you don't have it, then you owe me that money for the rest of your life until you pay it off. I'm actually fucking serious. Would you
Okay.
take that bet?
Bro, give me
$1
the
million.
fucking
Wait,
$1,000,000.
what platform would you like me to send the money? If I had to send the money, do you want Bitcoin? Do you
Why-
want Venmo? Do you want PayPal? Do
I
you
mean-
want bank
I mean,
transfer?
however you
Transfer
can get it-
wise
However you can get it to me, you have to send me the money.
or stocks?
And I will also send you the money as well.
Okay, cool.
Would you take
So
that bet? I bet you $1 million that you cannot put your pinky in your ear.
I'm
I'll
gonna
take that bet.
Yeah,
bet.
I'll take the bet.
Mitch, you shook your head a little bit.
No, I'll take your bet.
Okay.
Do it. As of each of us.
Hold on, because I know you guys are. I know you
Get
guys
it.
are. Oh, hold on. Cocky. Put it. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. Yeah, jeez. This is good. It's good cleaning. I bet you. I will. You have to work for me for the rest of your life, and you owe me $1 billion that you can't put your pinky in your ear.
Okay, but what are you offering?
Same thing. I also put that up.
I don't think you can work for all three of us. We
Yeah.
especially
that's
not Mitch and Jess.
I would make my
that
children.
we'd
work
work
for
you
you.
to death.
I would.
You're
I
looking
would.
for
Work I
yourself.
would give my children to you guys.
Okay,
Whoa.
okay.
Wow.
That's
Hang on,
fine.
that sounds like a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I want your kids.
I would raise them and get them to work for you guys.
That's cool.
But
Okay.
but if you guys lose the bet, then you have to do the same for me. You guys all
But
have to-
only if you raise them effectively. I don't
I
want
will
just
100%. I'll make them the best workers. But if you guys lose, you have to do that for me, and you have to give me all your money. Would you take the bet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel bad for you because I like you and I don't want you to be indebted, but I'm definitely down.
Forget about it. It's a fucking exercise. Okay.
It's a hyper.
That was so cute.
Stop
though.
making it so realistic, Mitchell.
Oh, hold on. That was so cute. Mitch is so cute. But the point is, that's what certainty is.
Mhm.
That's what certainty is. I remember Avery Williams walked this through with me 5 years ago. And then he said, "Do you believe in God?" And this was like years ago, right? Or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I believe in God. He's like, I bet you $100 that God isn't real. Would you take that bet? If we could hypothetically, if there existed a technology where we can make that proof 100%, yes or no, $100. You take that bet? I was like, yeah, I take that bet. He's like $1,000. I was like, oh, it's a lot of money at the time, right? Like,
Money, God, money, God.
I'm like, I mean, no, yeah, God's real. Okay, yeah, no, I'd take that bet. He's like, I bet you $100,000. I was like, that's how you know if you're certain or not. Why do you have to believe? This was the point that really fucked me up. Just going off what Drake was saying. Why do you have to believe in something? Is because you can't follow the math.
Yeah, because there's emotions involved. You're not following logic.
Mhm.
Because you don't have the reasons to express it. Right?
Goes back to that first 7 years too, because think how much your impulse as a kid, before you even had vocabulary, you're going to church or wherever you went to on Sundays or whatever, Christmas time, and Jesus is here and God did this thing, and it's like, okay, all right, I mean, there must be something to this.
Right. Like, could you imagine how, like, imagine we all created some new being in our mind. Like, I don't know, Carketta. I just made up the name. I don't know. Carketta. I was looking at a car outside, Carketta, and it was like
I thought you were thinking of home in Calcutta, you know?
Carketta, dude.
That's where God resides in Calcutta.
And
Not
and
bad,
it was
buddy.
a bird that came and that's what dropped cars into your parking lot. That's how you get cars into the car dealership. And then everybody drew pictures of it, and we had a holiday for Carketta and all this stuff. And then you come into the world as a baby, and everyone's like, "Oh, Carketta!" Like, ha ha ha! Like, you would have no choice but to believe it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what does that make you? It makes you stupid.
Yeah.
Because people's, I mean, like, okay, where was like Carketta born? They're like, don't worry about that. Like, what do you mean? Like, I want to be like Carketta.
You
And
could
no one
never
tells-
be like Calcutta.
Right? Exactly. Like, why not?
How dare you?
So the point is, that's what we've done with many figures. I won't say to what extent of which figures, but if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. So just really like locking in that point of when Drake is saying a belief versus a belief, it's like, that's why you have to argue with people, is because you can't actually explain your position, because it's a belief, because it's emotional, because the reason why you actually accepted that is because there was some fear of loss. When you were a child, they said, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get your video games, or we're going to beat you, or you're going to, oh, Jakey.
It
Jakey
actually
tells.
also goes back to the point that we're making within this podcast of like wanting to be the star of your own movie, right?
Oh, shit.
Because you have that starting point, then you can't let go of anything that that is like threatening that, right? So for instance, I can't let go of this belief that telling my kids about Santa is is wrong. I can't let go of the belief that telling my kids about Santa is magical, because then I would also have to say that my memories weren't magical. I would have to say that, you know, my parents abused me, and I don't want to say that like that. No, like they lied to me. Well, I don't want to call them liars, you know, like you have to actually face those points
Wow.
in order to do that. And so it changes your whole starting. And so because you can't even have that starting point, then you can't work out the rest of it. So you have to hold on to that belief. That's what the same thing that we were talking about with the math and the Y and W, and I don't know what letters you were putting together, but basically, because you already made your decision, everything else is a threat to your livelihood. But the reality is it's not actually a threat to your livelihood. But look at how you consider it and how you feel about it, and like how you feel it so strongly within you of like, you're saying that I can't like the things that I like or prefer. No, you're taking away my life. Why do you feel so strongly about that if it's not actually that way, if it's not actually that big of a deal?
Right.
That's something to really consider, of like, why are you holding on to it in this way? And so just to close out this point of a belief versus a belief, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. You can make all the arguments you want, but if it cannot mathematically be deduced or logically worked out to here is what's best for all of us, then it's bullshit. And so why would you allow somebody else's belief or opinion or whatever, even if they fight vehemently for it? Why would you allow that to stop anyone, yourself or anyone else, from doing what's best? Because another interesting thing, and I saw a Jordan Peterson interview with someone, and I really loved this idea. Somebody was saying to him, like, you're hurting other people. You're harming, you're not allowing for somebody else's belief or how they feel about things. You're denying that. Isn't that abusive? Like, how dare you? You don't care about what they believe. And he just goes, isn't that what you're doing right now? Like, you're saying that my belief is irrelevant?
Boom.
Right? And so the point is, they're willing.
I had made a status like, you shouldn't be afraid of coronavirus. You should be afraid of like how you've been living or something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, you shouldn't tell people what they should be afraid of. And I was like, you shouldn't tell people what they shouldn't tell people. It's always like this point of like, they're doing the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Jake.
Right. Yeah. So basically it's that point of, what is your starting point? Do you have to be the hero of the movie? Do you have to be the star? Right. And if so, is what you're doing, I think we were recording when you said this, but like, is what you're doing actually creating all the demise, the destruction in your world?
Oh shit.
I have to be unique and whatever. So now I express myself as a female, or I express myself as I'm cooler than everyone else or whatever. But it's literally just something that we've seen. Like, isn't it? Right? Like,
Spells.
it's something else that we've seen that is just, oh, it's within a different context. And so you think you're acting unique, but the reality is you're just taking, like, I see kids do this in math too. Like, you're taking all the other concepts that you learned that like kind of look similar to this, and like, can I use this rule here? It's like, no, that's not how that fucking works.
You're like, what do I do? I flip it and multiply it? You're like, no, we're not even talking about fractions. Like,
Right. Right. Like, it says divide, and like, oh, I flip this and multiply. Flip what? What are you flipping? It's not even a fraction. Exactly.
So how does that relate to this context that you're talking
Because you're just taking these ideas that you've seen, or rules or concepts, or however you want to say it, you're taking from other places and just muddling it up into this one thing you hear now. And that's not actually logically how it goes. It would be like taking the alphabet and putting it in whatever order you want, which is like, okay, yeah, all those letters, these are all letters. Yeah, sure. But they have a specific order, or at least what we call alphabetically arranged, right? What we've decided, what we've together. That's a little bit more of like,
It's not a perfect analogy, but
right, because like we've all agreed to that. It doesn't have to be that way. But there are things that do have to be, like, for instance, plants need water, they need sunlight, most of the time soil, unless you're doing like a hydroponic set where you're getting them the nutrients, but they need nutrients, right? And they need carbon dioxide, right? So these are just things that plants need. And it would be as if taking all that and going, okay, I'm going to make, you ever see like chefs make like deconstructed whatever, like deconstructed foods? So you'll
heard
take
about it.
like a basically you could take like a taco and like, oh, this is a deconstructed taco. And it would just be all the ingredients of a taco,
Oh,
but
boy.
not in a shell or not
Right,
in a
right.
tortilla. And like the tortillas on the side and like, oh, we've got the beans all piled up here by themselves and the rice. And you'd like, if you
There's
wanted a
Chef
taco,
Ray.
you'd be like, that's not what the fuck I want, right? But like people think you can take like a plant and make it a deconstructed plant. It's like, no, you're not gonna have a plant anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Mhm.
so the point that I'm making here with that, within your person, it's as if you're taking all these different concepts from all over, putting them together and going, that'll stick. That's good enough. Right.
A great indicator of whether or not you're doing this is if you have to use quotes from people in some kind of authority to justify what you're doing. So
Mm.
for example, if you're saying, but KT said, but Bernard said, but Assis, but Cameron, but somebody said, that means you don't even understand why for yourself you're doing what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
Now
Here's-
it's one reason to use that to explain what you're doing better, but you have to know for yourself why it is so that you can explain it, so that you're certain, so that you know, but you can't get certain. And this is really important, okay? This whole like, for example, in communication, you need to be certain about what you're saying, but you can't be certain that Carketa exists if Carketa doesn't actually fucking exist, right? If I say, okay, what I'm doing is right, how do I fit that? I have to know that what I'm doing is right. How do I fit that into what I'm doing? If what you're doing is not right, you will get to a point of where you're comfortable enough with all your reasons, but you're never going to feel good because you know you're being dishonest deep down. You know you're not solving this point inside of you that you're trying to use what you're doing to fill. What were you going to say, Jay?
I thought of a more clear analogy. It's like you're building a house and you know that houses have windows, they have support structures, they've got, a foundation, they've got roofs, and it's like you put all that stuff together, but in the wrong order. It's not structured. So you just build like a ball of just like, oh yeah. It's got bricks, it's got walls, it's got all that stuff, windows, it's all in there, but it's not a fucking house. It's just a pile of rubble. Like that's not a house, or it's a big ball of mud. I don't know. Right.
And what does that analogy explain again?
That's explaining how people want to take all these different concepts from everywhere and construct their idea of themselves in any fashion that they like.
Like you look at what you're doing and then you justify what you're doing by taking some religious things, some spiritual teaching, some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that. That's a really good point.
Right. And so they're not structured. And so this is why people think, they actually believe that, for instance, like gender is a social construct, right? Because there are a lot of things that we attribute to gender that have nothing to do with gender socially, like in our world, right?
True.
But that comes from not being properly educated. That comes from being born into this world, being taught about Carketa, whatever the hell.
I don't even know.
Yeah, right. But having these ideas in your mind and just like, oh, okay, so this is how you're starting to construct the world in your mind as an infant, as a toddler, a young child. And then you just go forward, not ever having any of that solved, not having not actually being able to reason through any of that stuff. And this is your starting point. And this is where you've already made your decision of who you are and how you operate, etc. And everything else must fit into this idea of yourself. And so whenever you get new information, you don't know how to actually use it. You don't know how to actually put it or structure it within yourself in a way that's best, because what's within you already is not structured.
You've never structured information inside of you before.
Right.
Think about that though. That's like 0 and 0 on teachability index too. Because let's say you're here, right? And you're like, yeah, how do I take all this information in front of me and make it work? It's like, that's not actually being honest about where you're at, and you're not willing to learn. you're not willing to change. So you can't even move forward, and you're just going to be spinning potentially for the rest of your life. And what self-perfection is that willingness to look at that past and realize, wait, my first 7 years, I was exposed to a bunch of stuff before I even had proper vocabulary, before I could understand what was going on. I was getting impulsed by all sorts of stuff. And that's this process. So it's not for the faint of heart, so to speak, but it's for the people who are serious about wanting to create the world that, to be best for all, create ourselves to be, best for all. And it comes with like a radical self-honesty, and it hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it involves like usually having some pretty tough conversations with people, realizing that you've been walking around spewing a bunch of bullshit, and then having to go through that almost painstaking process of deconstructing those memories one by one. So it's like taking that pile of rubble that Drake's talking about, deconstructing, because you got a window over here that should not be over there, and you got some shit over here and flashing lights over here, and you think it was great, whatever, but it's like you got to now deconstruct and then assess, like, okay, this is where we're at. Maybe ask some people around you, like, hey, does this make sense? Okay, cool. And then start to construct, so that then it can be a house, like on this analogy, it could be like a house that's actually like functional, and it's in a neighborhood of other houses that are functional, and the house actually serves a purpose. And then that's how we 1 + 1 really start to change things. Because I don't know last time you guys looked at the state of the world, but it is a giant pile of rubble. And everyone's pretending like it's not. It's like, oh, it's fine.
That's
it's
the
fine
thing.
that 30,000 kids die every day. Like, what? Who?
That what you just described, that's what I wanted to hit on, of like when you build a bunch of bullshit and you're calling it a house, because, and here's why. There's this video that Cameron shared with us. It was about this guy talking about why do you think people just succumb to this whole like woke culture, like just accept the kind of beliefs that are the societal norm, right? Whether it be with health, coronavirus, or whether it be with some societal construct that's the new thing of like transgenderism or not saying these words, whatever. Why do people do that? There's two reasons that he was bringing up. One of them is they don't want to appear dumb. They don't want to appear dumb, right? So imagine you did what Drake said. You set out to build a house, but then you fucking put everything in the wrong spots and all that stuff. And then I was like, Mitch, come over to my house. I'm like, look, this is my house. He's like, dude, that's not a house. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You're a fucking asshole. I thought you were a nice guy. Like, dude, I've always remembered you as such a nice guy. Why would you come and tell me that this isn't a fucking house? Like, are you serious right now? Like, dude, look at yourself first. Look at your house, man. Screw you. Get out of my house. Or get out from in front of my house, because you can't walk in. There's no front door, but whatever. My point is what Mitchell just said of no one's willing to acknowledge how much we fucked up. So going back to when I was an actor, when I was sitting back down and I was 2 years into acting, I was so excited because it was the first time ever in my life, that I saw myself doing one thing for 5 years, 10 years. It was the first time I was like, oh my God, I'm going to commit to this. It was going really well. Like everybody I was like hearing from, they're like, yeah, don't expect to get any paid work for 2 to 4 years. Like, you just have to do student stuff. And I've like already gotten paid work and I already like met all these people. I'm like, damn, this is fucking sick, dude. Like, and I was using TechnoTutor to like really get good at it. Right. So it was really this one day when I was sitting down and really considering the points. And one of the points that Cameron made to me, because I was telling him how I have justified that being an actor is the best thing that I can do to make an impact in the world, right? And I was like, when I'm famous, when I'm accepting my Grammy, I'm sure you guys heard the story before. It's like, then I'll tell everybody to, do the right thing. Like, I'll guide them over here, vote for this or do this thing. And so the flaw that I saw in it, okay, is that I'm still wanting everybody to be a slave to just listen to me, right? It requires followers rather than actually building people who lead themselves. And that's the coolest thing with TechnoTutor. It's like you'll be supporting someone for some time. They'll call you every day, then they'll call you every week, then they'll call you every month. And they're like, when you talk, it's no longer like, oh, my life's in turmoil. How can I, like, can you help me? It's just like, hey man, yeah, everything's good. Like, how can we grow more? It's like, damn, you've changed a lot.
Mhm.
you're very self-sufficient now. You're self-responsible. That's amazing, right? So that's the point that I realized. But the point that I never understood until way later was that point that Cameron was trying to break down for me, that Drake, you were bringing up earlier, of in order to get to that position, the things that you would have to do are things that you would not be willing to do. Or if you were willing to do them, that would be proof that you don't give a fuck about the system. So here's the point I was considering, right? The word popular. I was always popular as a child, right? And this was in this self-reflective phase of like, okay, why do I want to? I was the youngest child of three boys, right? So I was the third, and I got a lot of attention, right? I was always like the star of the show on the soccer field or in this, right? So it was very natural for me to be the quote unquote center of attention. I was the valedictorian of my high school, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, so clearly, like, I'm getting a lot of attention from acting, so that's probably a big point.
It's a sign.
It's a sign, right? Okay, yeah, okay. So that was very simple mathematics, honestly. Like you could just see it throughout my life, right? The interesting point was this desire to be popular. The word popular meaning social approval from the general public, approval from the general public.
Mm.
But the general public, the average person, doesn't give a fuck about anything. In fact, if you go back to high school and you go back to your childhood or whatever, we were all trying to be cool, right? We were all trying to be cool, right?
Absolutely.
If you really look at what you think cool is, it's depression.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that? It's the person who gives you the laconic or like the short responses, like, yeah, dude, whatever. Like, oh yeah, you guys go do that, have fun, whatever. You guys are fucking lame. Like, oh yeah, you guys gonna go to a water park? Like, I'm gonna chill here. It's like a very depressive state. If you look at what being cool is, right? And then the other part of being cool is you're just really abusive. You make fun of people, so you're superior. Right? Generally speaking, it's just like you being superior. And how do you be superior? You make other people inferior. That's what we're all trying to be. We're all just trying to be cool. So what the fuck is my point? Oh shit, dude. Teddy's like, yeah, dude, I'm trying to be cool too, dude. Maybe was saying we got to get little doggy self-perfected shirts. Little self-perfected shirt for a dog.
We feed him dinner at 4. And so right about at this time, he starts
Oh,
getting
damn.
like, yo, I want some more food. Why are you guys on this podcast every Sunday? And you're not giving me food at this time. So that's why I always had to like leave.
Right. Okay.
And so this time I thought maybe if I give him some food, then he'll be good.
Mhm.
But I think he's begging for more.
Mm.
So we'll see. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to that point. So I had someone comment on one of my Facebook posts recently, and they were like, yeah, because I used to pursue modeling and acting as well. And I was at one of the competitions in in Orlando, Florida, called like the Arts or whatever. Actually, I had been to
Shout out Orlando.
Drink.
I had been to multiple different sure, I guess you can feed him. I had been to multiple different competitions before, and so this one was pretty legit. It was more like, hands-on, supportive, all this stuff, because some competitions like that are very like, you gotta be a stick, you gotta wear what we tell you to wear, no matter how old you are, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel.
Right.
You gotta be in this mold. And it was much more like family friendly, more like, if you're the right fit for the agency, they'll have you come. You don't have to change yourself, type of thing, which is great. But I realize now, looking back, my starting point in wanting to be a model, my starting point in wanting to be an actress was solely because I would be popular. People in high school would like me. People in college would like me. They would look up to me. They would, all this stuff, right? So that was fucked. But anyways, one of the people that commented on my post was one of the moms of one of the other competitors at this competition in Florida. And she commented and she was just like, yeah, I met Jessica at Arts in Florida and she was the kindest person there. She was so nice. And it's really sad that after she got techno tutor, she turned into such a mean person and she's just all this stuff. And I'm like,
Damn, what was your status? Did you ask a question or something?
that I did. I asked a question that posed, did you lie to your kids?
You're a
about
fucking
Easter
bitch,
Bunny
Jess.
this
Oh
last
my
week.
god, how dare you? Oh my god.
Yeah.
How dare you ask me that?
And and so I'm like, I became certain after getting techno tutor. And people hate certainty because we live in such an uncertain world that if someone now is certain, people's program is running that if you're certain, you're in a cult. You're taking away my freedom. You're no longer an individual. You're capitalistic. You're this, you're that. You're and you're no longer empathetic. You're no longer kind. You're no longer these things. What was that?
I want to clarify something because I don't think people hate certainty. People more so don't want to be challenged. They're
Right, if you're certain in the opposing point, yeah.
Yeah. They don't like it when you're certain and you're challenging them.
Right.
Mhm.
They like it when somebody on their side is certain,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
when you're challenging them, it's again because they've already made that decision of who they are and what they believe and how they identify. And your certainty is then challenging that. And that's like, again, they've made the decision of it's either this or you're taking away my livelihood. You're taking away my life. You're killing me. You're literally killing me. Like your silence is violence.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Not
no.
acknowledging me is killing me.
That rhymes, so that must be true. Damn.
Right. But it's
Mitch, you're usually silent, so you're being violent, dude.
Violent here.
Man.
Violent of all of us.
but it's
Yeah.
this point that like Cameron was bringing up a long time ago, during all the riots and all that. He was making it a point for us to look at where does all this psychology come from, right? And just the idea that you being able to change yourself
Are you
is,
drinking mud, Mitch?
No, it's tea.
Oh damn.
but you being able to
Tea
change yourself.
made with literally like 8 bags of tea.
Okay, it's like 5 bags.
It's no.
He's like, okay, it's like 5 bags. That's a lot of bags, dude. If it's
You're
like-
threatening me. I'm gonna hang out, Teddy.
This thing right here, look how big it is compared to those bags. This thing
It's
is
only halfway
full.
full.
This thing
That's-
counts as 3 tea bags.
Mitch is an
And you have-
optimist.
You have that one,
Apple.
that one. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
7, 8. I was right.
Oh, damn, dude. Mitch, you lied. See, we're seeing it happen real time. Mitch had a phrase. But
there's nothing wrong with me.
I just wanted to refer real quick. That's why I passed it back to Drake. But what Jess was looking at in her status was that point of they built up this thing, and then Jess was challenging that just by asking a question, and now she's a mean person.
What's so funny too is that Jess literally just asked the question, and it's not even like she was saying like you can't tell anyone about the Easter Bunny. You should it's just best to tell your kids, hey, there's this tradition, some person dressed up as a bunny, there's like Easter eggs. I don't really know where it comes from, but like, it's like this pretend thing. Cool. Just explain it to your kids.
Do you want to have an Easter egg hunt?
Otherwise, your kids are gonna grow up literally thinking that Carqueta is real, or they're kind of unsure. And guess what? In those first 7 years, that stuff gets directly imprinted into the child, and they don't have the vocabulary to understand or discern. So now you got a kid walking around just thinking that there's some mystical thing out there.
Right. Embedded in that point is there are just things that you won't understand. Even that alone
Yeah. Yep.
is not
It's
fucking
so
good.
disempowered. That's the epitome of disempowerment.
Ignorance is not bliss, people.
I don't know.
Who said, somebody said that recently. I think it was on our last call. Was it you, Mitch? Or somebody said,
I made a post recently about it.
right,
Hey,
yeah. I know, like, we both made posts, but I think Avery said, like, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance will kill you or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
This is
that-
true.
Drake, what were you saying?
No, I was just thinking we got to make some Carquetta shirts. Like,
Just like a flying
yeah,
bird.
flying bird with like a car in his talons.
Oh my God, that'd be so good.
Right.
So like that point, okay, that point of, okay, you know, that experience, I wanted to talk, like, Drake, when you were mentioning this point of, or bringing back up how when we feel challenged, we feel like you're trying to kill me, basically, right? What is that inside of you? To give you a little bit of context, ego is the part of you that is trying to keep you the same. Life is the part of you, or ego is the thing that tries to stifle you, keep you from changing. Life is you as change. Like, you want to change, you want to grow, you always want to be developing, just like a plant, right? And what ego does is it makes you feel like you can't change. It stifles life, right? And so it makes you feel like you can't learn. And this is the concepts, and you can see how these concepts materialize in this world as the school system, right? It's a great symbol of ego. The school system is just using you to fulfill a purpose that benefits the system, right? Or the ego. And the output of the ego isn't even what's best for the ego itself, because the ego is self-interest only. It is not in my own best interest to treat Maylat like shit. Why would that be in my best interest?
Right.
Right? So in other words, the ego is stupid, right? So that feeling of feeling like you're going to die when somebody's challenging you, when somebody is suggesting that you do something different, right? Like when people are challenging me on acting and all that stuff, and for whatever you're going through, look at that for yourself. That is a program that is running. In other words, there is a program inside of you. So when somebody says, hey, like, you should let go of that program starts speaking as you, saying, don't fucking kill me, you asshole. I'll kill you before you kill me. But if you just think about it,
in my opinion,
right? If you think about it, you're not going to die. So it's definitely not you speaking. And either you believe that you can learn something new, or you don't. And if you don't, that's accepting you're a robot and you can't change and you're not a human being. Or you can change and you have nothing to be afraid of. The problem is, because we don't want to look stupid, because we don't want to feel inadequate, because we don't want to feel like we can't change. Because if I were to, whoever's listening to this, if I told you, you are a robot and you don't think for yourself, I'm talking about you. You don't think for yourself. Every thought that you have is not yours. It's total bullshit if you think that's yours. In fact, you're even more of a slave if you're trying to justify that it's yours. You got so enslaved that somebody convinced you that slavery was sick. So now you're arguing for slavery. And then now you feel a bunch of stuff. Every thought that you have is a fucking lie. It was just put into you when you're a child, and now it's just speaking to you, and you're just following it blindly, thinking that it's yours. That's you listening to this podcast.
Screw you, Asif. That's the other listeners, not me.
Exactly. Right? I've heard this
Stop talking to me.
before. I've heard this concept before, and I was like, yeah, those other people, man. Oh, for sure. But just look at it for yourself. And then there'll be a point inside of you, like what Mitchell just described, that fights against that. Why would you be afraid of that? Unless you believed you couldn't change and you couldn't forgive yourself. What do I mean by that? If your thoughts are not your own, wouldn't you want to be like, oh shit, I should start like taking that apart and questioning things and creating new thoughts for myself? But you have to believe you can change for that. And the other part is that means that like you guys were talking about before, when you look back at your life, you're going to be like, oh my God, look at all the shit that I've created trying to follow my thoughts, thinking that it was me, but it wasn't me. Wow, like I've abused, or I've, did shitty things, or I just wasn't fulfilling my potential. I wasted all this time or whatever. That's why you have to be able to forgive.
It's crazy because people will literally use this concept in a way that supports their ego. So they say, like when they have destructive behaviors and they say, oh, I just wasn't myself. I just wasn't feeling like myself. You know what I mean? Like, so that they're on some level aware of this.
Like, isn't that why people drink?
Yeah, that's another reason why. And people, when they drink, then they blame it on the alcohol.
Exactly.
Say, oh, it was just the alcohol, or oh, that was just my depression speaking. I wasn't actually speaking to you. You know what I mean? It's like they're aware that there are times where they're in a state of being where they aren't actually speaking.
Right.
But
right.
They aren't even aware of all the patterns to the extent where literally you're almost never speaking.
Right. Right.
There's sometimes though that little voice of self-honesty where you're like, oh shit, I think I got to do that. No,
Right.
no,
And
I don't have to do that.
Disregard it.
Yeah.
But that's why you have to fight people, right? Because you have that little voice that's like, hey, what if you're wrong? Then you have to be like, fuck that, like, fuck this person, they're wrong. Right? You have to battle. And so bringing it back to this point, it was like that self-honesty of realizing I was doing the process for some time when I was questioning acting, and I was talking with Cameron. But the point is, oh yeah, I wanted to summarize the popularity point. Drake, the average person, what do they value?
They value the opinions of others.
What else? What do they care about? What versus what they should care about?
Care about money. They care about survival.
Survival,
Yeah.
vanity. Like, how do I look? Like, look at that fat bitch. Like, look at that ugly dude. Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
What that guy's wearing is so stupid. Like, we're fucking evil, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're like, well, let's protect the old people, but like, fuck the 20,000 kids who die every day of preventable causes. Fuck that. Right? Coronavirus, like, it's killed, almost 3 million people. We have no idea how to solve it, cure it. Vaccine, it kind of works. It's not bad, but like, whatever. But let's just put all of our attention on that versus this thing that kills 9 million people that we know exactly how to prevent. Let's not deal with that.
Yeah. How much money went into the vaccines?
Dude, yeah, look that up. And it's so funny. I was rewatching a bit of Event 201. For those of you who don't know what Event 201 is, it's this like get together of Johnson & Johnson and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and these medical authorities and all these people in 2019 before the pandemic was declared, just, running through a casual exercise that was totally fictional about, okay, let's say hypothetically, if there was a coronavirus that became a pandemic, how would we respond? What would we need to do? How would we control information flow? They literally like planned it all out beforehand, but it was completely fictional. Like, coronavirus, like, yeah, completely like, that's just totally different from what's going on. But in that, they're talking about how, like to distribute like PPE, like the medical supplies and all that stuff, it's going to take a lot of coordination. Like, we won't be able to just do it by ourselves. It'll take a lot of coordination between government and global businesses. It's like, why don't you apply that to the thing that's already killing 9 million people every year? It's called hunger and hunger-related diseases.
Yeah.
But people should be able to provide that for themselves. Getting food is such an easy thing. All you have to do is have a job to get money, or if you live in a third world country, all you have to do is learn how to harvest from the land itself. So really, we shouldn't have to support anybody with this because it's a given. It's obvious how you can get yourself to get food.
It's so obvious that they're just letting themselves starve. Like, what idiot.
Yeah.
They chose to be there. Right?
They chose this life. And honestly, I believe, this is just me personally though, I believe that you have to have poverty in order to have the people that succeed. And those people are giving their life so that I can live the life that I live. It says it in the Bible. So it's what I believe. We have to have those people that live in poverty. But I still give $30 a month to 2 of my kids that live in Africa so they can be fed.
How
Because
generous.
it makes me feel good.
How generous. Wow.
So
I know. I'm such
There's-
a good person.
that's like somebody who's even like willing to consider the Saturday people, and then there's all the other people who are like who don't even look at that. And every time you bring that up, they're like, "Dude, why are you bringing that up, dude? That's so fucking whack." Right? Of like people are dying. So that's what the general public doesn't care about, and what they do care about. That's what they value. They value being cool, being depressed. Like if you aren't gay, transgender, or depressed and have mental health issues, you're not interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
Right? There was a
You better be posting your depressed poetry.
there was
And
a
you better be wearing some of that thrift shop goodies you found down the street, and you better have the right kind of makeup on, or else your pretty little face ain't gonna get no attention because you ain't painted the right way. You better follow all those trends, and you better just get it right. Because honey, if you ain't struggling for the beauty, nobody's watching.
this is amazing. This accent. But the point is, that's the general public. So to want to be popular, or in other words, getting the approval of the general public, that is evil. What would you have to be?
Evil.
So
One evil motherfucker.
So here's the point, and this is the thing that I couldn't process at that time. It's like I did not accept that there was evil in the world, to the kind of evil that's like, in order to rise to the height of any industry, it's not pretty. You don't just get let into the club.
What?
Just like fuck.
I get let into any club because it's just that good.
Oh, fuck.
You know that point that you were making earlier about like how you would have to, like who you would have to be in order to be successful as an actor or an artist or whatever, and how you would eventually, it would lead you to doing things that you don't actually want to do, or that if you did it, it would show just how much you don't give a fuck about life in general, right? You know how you would make that choice? Because you're already making the choice. You're already compromising yourself, already deciding against doing what's best in order to pursue that dream so that you could get those feelings that you want or whatever. You've already decided, you've already made a decision against principle and for emotion. Go ahead.
I was fucking blessed because what clicked for me was there's this thing that we all pray to God or the universe or whatever, like not necessarily pray, but within ourselves, like we think, just give me the success and then I'll do good. So how do you know that you're compromising?
I deserve this because of my intentions.
Exactly, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? It's like what Drake just said. How do you know that you're compromising right now, which is the indicator that you'll compromise in the future? It's like, and this is what I was doing. This is the self-honesty part. It was like, I was putting off doing the right thing to a later date. After I'm successful, then I shall do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, to myself, right? And I had to give up making like 30K a year to come back and start back at scratch, zero. Sorry, 30K like in a month. And that was like my training, where I was easily scaling to 60K, 80K a month, beautiful weather all the time, all this stuff in Australia. And that's when I left to come back and start like spreading vision and like actually doing what I see is best. But my justification, this was after acting and before becoming a distributor, I was like, let me just make my first million and then I'll do. But that is thinking that you're going to live forever.
There's also another point within that and I'll let you go, Jess. But there's also another point within that of, well, there's not anything I can do right now.
Yes.
And people use that to justify why it has to be later. No. Logically, I've got to make the money first. Then later I'll do something that's best. Right? Go ahead, Jess.
So I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and it was about like if you could only save one thing, would you save like a dying dog, or would you save the Mona Lisa? And someone's justification for saving the Mona Lisa over a dog was that they could sell it and use the money to do what's best for all. And superficially, you look at that and you're like, oh, that's a pretty good answer. But then if you actually look at it, the action you had to do to get that money, first of all, was allowing a life to die. Second of all, you didn't actually build anything to get that money. And so if you don't build anything that is real to get that money, so if you chose to be an actor to get the money and you didn't actually build something that was real, then once you get that money, you're not going to be able to put it towards doing what's best because you have no idea what that is, because you didn't do what was best in order to get that money. So the thing is, you can become rich while doing what's best. I know this because I'm doing this. I'm making a lot of money doing what I'm doing. And what am I doing? I'm distributing TechnoTutor because TechnoTutor actually changes lives. It supports people to process information, think critically, like process all of the shit that happened to them previously in life. I mean, it's evident to me when people just want the lottery, just want to get the
A
lottery.
lottery, nice.
And it's the same thing. It's the same pattern over and over again, no matter how it manifests in your life. That same thing where it's like, I will do what is best when I get this money. I will use this money to do what is best. I have to become popular in order to do what's best. Do what is best and become famous for doing what's best. And then use your platform. Do what is best to become a billionaire and then use that money. Become the most notable networked person in the world by doing what's best and use that network. It's if you allow compromise now, you will continue to allow compromise no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you make, no matter who you know. It starts now. It's a decision that you have to make now, or else you will not reflect that later on. You have to start changing now. You have to literally take responsibility for your existence now and support others to do the same. Because nothing else stands as real. Nothing else is unshakable, you know?
And what specifically is that compromise? I think that needs to be made clear because, like, I think people, when they hear like, oh, you compromise yourself to do what's best, they might be thinking very surface level of like, oh, well, I just made a decision to put it off till later and that was a compromise, right? But like the reality is the compromise that you're making is it's not just putting it off till later. It's actually going along with the system that's already set in place. So you see like, you see that people are, oh, I want to go and have a concert or whatever.
Mhm.
Right now, this is what I was talking about, like on the last podcast, isn't it? Where we were talking about people, musicians who are putting together events right now. They're either getting called out as like, oh, this is an unsafe event and you can't, this musician's an asshole for putting this event together and having all these hundreds or thousands of people get together and they're spreading disease and all this, like, or you have to compromise and you have to go along with the narrative and put the mask on and make sure that everyone who comes to your event has a vaccine and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know. I know there's going to be people that listen to this who don't see that as a compromise because they're too far into the mainstream narrative to even consider why that's not best.
The thing is, people live in cities,
Mm.
metropolitan areas,
Yeah.
downtown cities.
Yeah.
Where the norm is like a fucking concert. Their apartment building holds as many people as a concert does.
Yeah.
They're walking down the street. There's enough people that you can see just walking down the street that you would have at a concert.
Yeah.
And yet, if someone holds a concert, it's wrong. So I can see how people who are in those kind of situations have they aren't clear.
Yeah.
They're not able to even comprehend anything outside of what the narrative is saying.
Yeah.
Because they are living inside of the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. And then the other things that you have to compromise on are basically like, you don't get to produce what you want to produce.
Mhm.
You don't get to be the hero of the movie, or you don't get to sing the songs that you want to sing or the art that you want to actually create, because you have to create what's going to sell.
Mhm.
And what's going to
that's what pop music is. Pop
Yeah.
stands for popular.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be at the height of pop or successful in pop, that means you have to be popular, which is accepted by the general public who values fucking evil, abusive shit.
Exactly.
You gotta
Exactly.
talk about sex and
Drugs, and
talk
alcohol,
about
and
drugs,
partying, and
alcohol,
like I miss you, and breakups,
being-
and
you
So-
got to talk about being a stripper and selling your body and how other men make you feel as a woman.
sorry.
Sexual things, because
No, just
that
you,
is
meant
so
you have to talk
desirable.
about female empowerment. That's what you meant to say. You have to talk about
that, because it's female empowerment now.
that's female empowerment.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, for one, you're being directed to produce that stuff, but also that's what the masses want to accept. That's what they're ready to accept. So it's coming from both directions. So how are you supposed to stand up to that, especially if you're not doing what's best right now? If you're not willing to just do it right now within the context of nobody's telling you to do that just yet. How are you supposed to stand up to it when everyone around you, if you want to be successful, is telling you that's what you have to do? Otherwise, you get banned. And how does that work? That's like, if you look at Owen Benjamin, right? He's a banned comedian, meaning there's like literally every platform that you could think of, he is not allowed on, right?
Even his bank accounts, right?
Even his bank accounts, even Airbnb, he can't even have an Airbnb account, because literally he was just saying he was not going along with the narrative. And what they decided to do was demonize him, turn him into like this, oh, no, you can't possibly like this person. He's a racist. He's, misogynist. He's a bigot. He's all these things.
Neo-Nazi, alt-right.
Right, exactly. And then just
Yo, mom,
ban him from
will you
everything.
give me an Airbnb if we get deplatformed and can't use Airbnb?
But the point is, like, that's like, you can go from being in movies. He was literally in movies. He was a comedian on stage. Like, you could go from that to being persona non grata in everything that could potentially bring you back to that stardom or fame or whatever, or that height, that money,
Mhm.
all because you just decide not to go along with the narrative.
Right.
So are you willing to do that? Because if you're not willing to do that for your craft or for what you believe in, you're already lost. You've already missed the plot. And so whatever it is that you're defending is irrelevant, right? Because you're really just trying to get in the good graces of the system.
Yeah, you got to be willing to be alienated. You got to be willing to have your former teachers from high school messaging you on Facebook, telling you that the only reason why you're upset about the school system is because you didn't have the experience in high school and college that you wanted to have.
Shit.
Who the fuck is having the experience they want to have in high school? Like, there's like five people in high school who are having the experience that they want to have. And guess what? After
I was
high,
asking you.
after high school, it peaked. That's it. You know?
Well, they're still working in the school system, so they're just replaying their own high school experience over and
Like,
over.
Who
like,
actually
like, if you're-
enjoys
if you're-
school?
If your high school teacher is like on board with what you're doing, you're probably doing nothing. If the like, if okay, the general public or being popular is the system, the output of the system. They become system agents. In other words, an agent is the thing that conducts the bidding of something. So
Like
the
Agent Smith.
what was that?
Smith.
Like Agent Smith in the Matrix.
Exactly, right? So man, like I remember the last time I watched that movie, it all started because I was using Technical for some time. It all clicked. Everything makes sense now. I understand how what Agent Smith is doing when he's putting their hand into somebody. But the point is, a cleaning agent is the cleaning agent in this detergent is this ingredient. That means that is the ingredient that's responsible for cleaning, right? So a system agent, it is the agent that carries out what the system is here to do, right? And it's so if you look at that, being the general public, all that stuff, they're the system. So if you are popular in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, et cetera, that means the system, and consider what the system values. Okay. That's all the time you get to consider what the system values. That means the system values you. Why would you want to be valued by this system?
Oh, yeah.
This is the same system that's responsible for all these kids dying every day, child sex trafficking. It's all the same system.
Yes. Thank you, Mitchell. Yes. It is the system that's like, yeah, there's just things that we can't change, like all these preventable things. Preventable means you can change it, by the way.
You know, that's so interesting. I was watching a video of some CIA agent, and he was being interviewed by Patrick Bet-David, and they were talking about human trafficking and how it's such a low priority in our system. Like we'll go to other countries to dethrone some drug lord, but if they're doing some human trafficking shit, it's like literally don't care. And the amount of money that is put towards it, at least here in the US, the amount of money that's put towards drugs or gangs or weapons of any sort, right? The amount of money that goes towards all those things is ridiculous. But then if you ask like your local police force, how much budget do you have towards human trafficking? They're like, we don't even have a department for that. We don't even have somebody who works on that. And yet human trafficking is such a huge deal. Like that's part of what's so terrible about what's going on the border is that a lot of children come through and they're being trafficked. What's so terrible about
Minnesota is known to be the most human trafficking happening out of all the states.
Damn.
And you wouldn't know that because
You guys are probably like the nicest state as well, right?
Yeah,
Sweet little
Minnesota nice. That's what they say.
But
That's crazy.
little do
See
you
how that
know,
goes?
Minnesota is connected to the ocean through the Great Lakes.
Mm.
And so people put the kids on the ships and they bring them to the ocean through that. It's the easiest way to human traffic because you don't got to worry about the airports. You ain't got to worry about any of that. You just put them on a boat and they're gone. Why do you think we have the most immigration? Why do you think Minneapolis is known to have the highest immigration? Literally, it's crazy, you guys. It's crazy.
You know what's really, I didn't know any of that stuff about Minnesota, by the way, but
I've heard that. Yeah.
what's really interesting about that is what is human trafficking if you distill it down to its most base fundamental principles.
The human is something to be profited off of or merchandise.
Exactly. It's slavery. It's literally slavery. Slavery still exists today in a very large way.
Mhm.
And like directly, like I know we say we're slaves of the system, and that still holds.
Yeah, like you're
But-
100%. If you stop working, you're fucked. Like, yes, you're still like we're all still slaves, right? But also,
look at this direct example of slavery. Like literally what you perceive in your mind when you think of slavery still exists today. And yet we do nothing. Our system says, no, that's fine. That's normal. That's totally normal. It's supposed to happen. We allow that to happen unless that is leading to drug trafficking or the illegal sale of firearms or the, I don't know, unless it's leading to one of these other things that we've decided is bad,
Mhm.
then we allow the slavery. But slavery in and of itself, fine.
Why-
Even
you
if it
wouldn't-
is for prostitution, fine.
You wouldn't want people to bring in drugs because Drake, then less people will be dependent on the pharmaceutical companies. And Drake, you also wouldn't want people to have guns because then people will actually start speaking out about real issues. And people with guns are harder to shoot with pepper spray and with the rubber bullets. They have real bullets. So you can't control a mob with real guns, Drake. They can't have that. They can't have that. And also, illegal firearms doesn't put money into the economy, Drake. Drake, you should have thought about that one.
Wait, don't you know about tax dollars, dude? Like,
It's funny because what this CIA agent was saying was basically this. He was saying that majority of our money and our resources goes toward fighting the illegal sale of legal items, of legal things.
wow, that's probably why they wouldn't crack down on human trafficking because like prostitution isn't legal, right?
Prostitution is illegal.
Is right. It's not legal. Therefore, they don't benefit from cracking down on illegal prostitution because they wouldn't otherwise be able to sell that and make a profit off of it. Versus illegal firearms, they can stop that so that they monopolize the industry, right?
It's not legal in Vegas.
Okay, yeah, just one place.
Prostitution is it? No,
Is it?
for real. Like, is prostitution legal in Vegas?
There's like some unclear blurred lines within
Yeah, and in Canada, like it's like decriminalized. It's like a valid form of work.
It's legal in Nevada on a county by county basis.
There you go.
So like just to be clear, what the point I was making is like, again, it's just a theory, right? But the point is like, they can sell guns and make money off of that, the state, right? Taxes. So they will crack down on illegal sales of guns, but they can't sell prostitution or human beings and they can't profit off of that. Therefore, why would they just, if you really look at the logic of the system that
Yeah.
only values profit, why would you try to stop human trafficking?
That makes sense.
Mm.
As well as like children. Children have the most potential. Children have the most energy. You look at a child running around at the playground, and then they sure as hell have way more energy than their parents trying to chase them around the playground. Okay? I can tell you right now, children are full of it, full of that stuff. And guess what? Some people love that. Some people eat that up. Some people take advantage of that. Some people, that's their entire livelihood.
But like, how is that?
Taking advantage of children's energy?
But that's like every parent, you know what I mean? Like, yes,
Yeah.
like the elites will abuse the fuck out of that, but isn't that what,
Isn't
like,
that what Christmas morning is, and you like try and like, yes,
Creating
enjoy
that,
the
yeah.
enjoy the consumerist like experience of
Mhm.
unwrapping that present, and eat the
and,
sugar.
and if you don't give them the
Only
energy that they
feel
want,
special on their birthday.
right?
We
Yeah,
only
like,
recognize you individually for your birthday. We have to do a big birthday party so they feel special because it's their birthday.
and it's like, if they don't get the energy they want, then it's like you're upset at the kid. What, you didn't like that? You didn't like that gift or whatever, which we've talked about many times. But that is, the elite are just, they're just self-honest. If you really think about it, right? If you look at the highest levels of the popes and the priests and the Satanists who are just like, yeah, dude, we just want to fucking prove that we can do whatever the fuck we want and rape kids and murder them. It's like they're just self-honest. Like, we don't give a fuck. We just want to feel good. Versus everybody else is hiding in this bubble of, no, I'm a good person. So that keeps them in check, right? So I'm not saying everybody wants to rape children and things like that, but just on that point of what Jess is saying about how there are people who will benefit off of the innocence of a child and taking that away from them, which is why it's actually a big humanitarian point of like the peacekeepers of the UN going in and, basically still allowing rape in third world countries, even when they're going into peacekeep. It's very interesting. Like when
Peacekeep?
Mayla was in
Who
school.
are they keeping the peace from?
Right, exactly.
Wait,
right?
wait, what?
I won't go into all the details just for the sake of the content, but it's just like they're going in there to protect certain people from war, right? But within that protection is they're also sexually abusing the people because no one's looking out for them. They are the ones who are doing the looking out, so they basically have free reign, right? And so it's like the problem with me and Maylat were talking about this is like a year and a half ago of why is rape such a visceral point is because you're taking something from someone that they can't get back. But that's the exact same thing of what parents do to their children by abusing them and taking their innocence and putting a piece of them into the child. Of like, this is the cold, harsh world. You're going to get punished for what you do. You can't just, throw puzzles in the air and expect not to get hit because you're not playing with the puzzles properly. You can't just make mess and do all this stuff. They're like taking innocence and putting themselves into the child.
Isn't
So
that
then the child grows up. What's that?
That's exactly what's going on with countries
Right, exactly.
like South Africa or Africa in general,
Mhm.
the continent. It's like, yo, your value ain't worth shit. I'm gonna take all your resources and give you shit back. Or Iran or Afghanistan or any of those places, it's like everybody's shitting on them, saying, you're not worth anything. I'm going to take your innocence away from you. All you are is destructive. There's only wars there. You don't deserve to have the value that anyone else has. You literally take away their innocence by saying their money is worth less, by saying the people there are worth less. You're taking their innocence away. All people are valued the same. They should be valued the same, which means all currencies should be valued the same. Like, hello.
Yeah, it's like that's the limitation of, in terms of all currencies being valued the same. If you live somewhere that has a lower value of currency, you won't be able to experience the same quality of life as somewhere else, right? Drake, were you sharing something?
Was I sharing something? What was I sharing? I
When
think,
she
You
brought up
talking
that point of like sex trafficking or human trafficking,
yeah.
sort of being the capital of it,
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But
that was a while ago.
that was years ago. But do you remember that skit from Dave Chappelle when he's like Rick James?
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Yeah, and like Charlie Murphy like stomps him out, and he's like, oh, Charlie Murphy, because he slapped Charlie Murphy. He's like, why'd you do that to me? Charlie Murphy, it's like, you
Yes.
slapped me across the face. It's like, that was years ago.
It was like earlier in the club or whatever.
Yeah. But the point that I was making, if it wasn't clear, was that we're allowing that system, the system values that. The system values human trafficking, which is so ridiculous. And so if you become valued by the system, that's also what you're becoming a part of. You're facilitating that. You're allowing for the system to continue doing that. Anyone who actually challenges that, and the point that I was really making was, look at how much money we've put towards coronavirus vaccines in general, which is $9 billion, right? Here in the US alone, just in the US alone.
Someone's making some money off that.
Ooh.
And we will not put that kind of money towards something that we know is preventable, that we could actually make a real difference in. Why is that the case? First off, but second off, like, okay, you can see where our priorities are. You can see where the priorities of us as a people are, and how people will just brush you off when you say literally 30,000 people a day die from hunger and hunger related causes. Like, and they'll brush you off and they'll just say, don't talk about that. And it also brings in this point of what we as a society agree on, or what we as a group think prevents us from actually being critical as an individual and saying, hey, that's not best. Like what you and I would not accept for ourselves, when we think of it as being a part of this group of, woke individuals or woke people as a group, we want to fit in with the woke group. And it's like you were saying before, of like, you don't want to look stupid when you're challenged, right? And so in order to not be excised from the group, you just go along with whatever everyone else is saying. And it's also this point of people will fight you so hard. It's so interesting. People will fight you so hard and call you all these terrible things when you're standing up to them, right? And you're being brave. And they think that they themselves are being this brave kind of person, right? But they're literally going along with the whole, like the mainstream narrative, meaning they're going along with what literally everyone else is going along. They're only having that point of view or that ability to be as aggressive as they are toward you because they perceive that they have everyone else on their side. Right. But
yeah, that's a really good point.
But literally, in order to stand up and actually do what's best, because you can already see the world is not best. You can already see it's really clear, right? Which means that you have to go against the grain. But in order to do that, it takes so much more courage. And so like you actually have to really stand up and actually be rooted in something in order to do that, because you're going to have everyone against you. Otherwise, it's just as easy as like what everyone else is doing right now of like, oh, you didn't wash your hands? How dare you? Like, oh my God, you're literally the devil incarnate. It's like, what? No, you're just saying that because literally everyone else is saying that. But if you had to stand up and say, hey, wearing these masks is not the best idea. It's not good for you. Like, that means you have to go against what everyone else has already agreed to. Because if you look around outside, what are 90% of people doing? They're going along with it. And it's the same reason why we can even have human trafficking in the first place. Because 90% of people are going along with it. And it's almost like Carqueta. It's like bringing it back to that.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's this thing that exists out there, and it's just, this is the way that it is. Where does it come from? I don't know. It's complicated. You can't ever know it. It's
leave it to the experts to understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the point of why poverty exists, why God exists, why Santa exists, all of that. It's all that same point of this is just the way it is. Don't question it, and just enjoy the benefits that we get from this.
Nice. Damn.
Spells.
Yeah, spells.
Yeah,
See-
enjoy these movies we produce, even though we go do parties and talk about killing babies.
do other movies about killing babies?
Dude, do you realize there's literally movie stars that walk around with boots that are made of children's flesh?
Yeah, it's actually a thing. You should watch the Macaulay Culkin interview. He talks about it.
Oh fuck, dude! Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're
Crazy.
just seeing the acceleration, or we're just seeing the natural progression of the system.
Yeah. Slowly
And-
collapsing though.
Exactly. Right. And that's why it's like these drastic measures are being taken to upkeep everything. But like, obviously, we're being pretty intense on this point of, if you just want to be successful, So for me, it's acting, right? What was it for you guys? The thing that you guys were focused on before this?
Traveling. It was
Right.
literally just traveling.
Entrepreneurship, making money, spirituality.
I
Right.
thought I could do anything. I thought I was going to be the next Childish Gambino. I was going to do it all. I was going to be
You
I was gonna
don't
be a
look
singer.
Like
I
Oh, but like actor, singer, rapper. Okay, yeah.
okay.
was a big- I was gonna be everything. I was gonna be in a screamo band, and I was gonna be the lead singer, and I was gonna be a model, and I was gonna be an actress.
She
And
got
I
the
was gonna be
full
the-
system download.
I was gonna be
pretty
a
much.
traveler. I was gonna be a YouTuber. I
The
was
only
gonna-
thing she didn't want to be was a child sex trafficker, and that's what other people in the system are. So
That's why you failed. Okay, well, that's fucking laugh.
she wasn't willing to compromise on that.
Man, that makes you so lame that you weren't willing to do that. But like, that's the okay. Anyways, so yeah, we're going pretty hardcore in this because we all wish that we figured this stuff out sooner.
Yeah, for real. I spent so much money going to those modeling competitions, like so much money. It was crazy.
Right? It's
Paid
like
for that shit. You had to pay to
so many people who get like
house.
focused on that travel bug thing, right? Remember that was like more popular when like I was graduating high school and all that. It's like everybody just wanted to travel. And then I have friends who just travel for the rest of their fucking existence, right? Because they're just trying to continuously fill this thing inside of them.
Dude, I'm trying to find myself. You
Trying
know,
to find myself, right? It's like you create yourself and you're creating yourself as a fucking wasted life, basically, right?
Even
and-
if you traveled to every single place in the entire world, you experienced every single thing you possibly could experience.
you have all these memories, the coolest
When
Instagram
you-
feed ever of
when
all
you-
these pictures of you.
You made billions of dollars. You were the most successful traveler ever. You met millions of people. You die and you leave nothing behind except somebody who abused life just to experience as much as possible because you didn't actually make a difference.
But
You didn't actually what's
how many of us, like the purpose of life is to just like gather as many experiences as you can.
serious?
That was my fucking shit.
That was me.
Oh yeah, of course.
Drakey.
Yeah,
come
my
on.
bucket list was full of experiences. I'm a bungee jump, go skydiving, do the whole gliding thing with the big thing, and you're like,
Yeah, the paraglider kind of thing.
yeah, and the parasailing and the scuba diving.
But isn't that what, like, if you really look at it, right? When we say, like, not when we say, but when people say like you got to do what you fear, like walk through your fears, we're thinking of some bullshit like going skydiving. Like, okay, end of your life, right? The whole like you want to live your life where you have no regrets.
Mhm.
What are we thinking that we're going to regret?
Yeah, I bungee jumped. I traveled the world. I did all that stuff.
Right. It's like
No,
I'm
I don't want to
gonna-
regret not traveling. Man,
Yes.
I don't want to regret not going on that spring break with everybody else who had all those experiences on that one spring break, because then I won't have those experiences on that one spring break.
Right, exactly. It's like I don't want to regret that I didn't fuck this girl or this guy when I had the chance. I don't want to regret that I didn't explore my sexuality in this way. I don't want to regret that I didn't pursue my career in acting and music and artistry and whatever. Because what could have been? That is a manipulation tactic designed to keep you fucked.
Yeah.
I know that from experience. So the reason I'm bringing up this point of we all had our thing, especially me, that's why I'm going like very particular on it, is because I know who I was then. I know my experience of myself then. And I know how actually happy I was then compared to now. And there is a stark difference that I couldn't perceive when I was in that position. So consider that everything that I'm saying to you, if you're listening to this and you're triggered, because again, If it's not acting, then maybe for you, it's some other form of art. If it's not art, then it's for you, it's you want to build your business. Or maybe, here's another big one, okay? A lot of us want to make a difference, and we think that the way we make a difference is, okay, well, as a kid, I never felt like I belonged, so I want to create something that makes kids feel like they belong. Or, for example, I had to go through, I was homeless and I had to go through that experience. And so now my dream is to build a shelter for homeless people. Superficially, it seems like, that's a righteous thing, but you are accepting that homeless people is just something that we have to live with forever.
Exactly. Why not figure out how we can change the money system so that everyone has their needs met, and then we create that kind of homeless shelter, but for everybody. And
Right. Yes, exactly. Right. Deal with the cause rather than the symptom. Right. It's the same thing if you're a school teacher. Being a school teacher, everybody has that thing in them of like, oh, you're raising the next generation. Like it's a very virtuous thing to do. But what are you accepting? What are you standing in? Mitch, it seems like you're going to say something.
Oh, I mean, still school system.
Right, exactly. You're accepting, okay, parents, you don't have to learn how to educate your kids. You don't have to learn to raise your kids or even like them. You can just drop them off here. That's what you are upholding in the system. I am not saying that you are intentionally doing this. The purpose of these podcasts is to bring to your awareness the consequences of how we are living our lives. But then it's up to you to make the decision of either fuck you guys, I'm not listening to this podcast anymore, or okay, I'm going to have to really push myself to be self-honest here and consider it for yourself. Because again, just doing it because somebody said so is not enough, right? You do have to look at these points for yourself. But that's my point with, even if you're a school teacher or if you're a nurse and you are benefiting from people being fucking obese and you're benefiting from people not taking responsibility for their health. I'm not saying eliminate all.
Cells. You know what a school system produces? It produces people that work in those kind of industries that takes advantage of the abuse. Because we need people.
Teddy's like, yeah.
We need people. We need people that work in those industries in the current system, because it outputs people that need hospitals. It outputs people that need pharmacies. It outputs people who need psychologists. It outputs all this stuff, and it outputs people needing to express themselves in a crazy ways to make up for their psychological issues. They can't even handle themselves. They go do all this stuff, and it's like we have created a system that no longer, well, I don't think we've ever had a system, but the system currently does not value the human's quality of life. It simply values their life and takes advantage of their life as much as possible. How much money can we make from these people within their lifespan? Well, first of all, how much can we get them to go to the doctor? How many medications can we get them on? How many dependencies can we get them to have where we consistently make money off of them? How can we get them addicted to cigarettes? How can we get them addicted to alcohol? How can we get them addicted to going to the mall, going shopping? All this stuff. It's like within your lifetime, imagine how much money you're putting into the system because of the life that they've created, that they've normalized for each individual person. They've normalized people being on 5, 6, 7, 8 medications for months on end by the time they die.
Yeah.
They normalize people saying, I identify with being depressed. I identify with being anxious. This is how my life will be for the rest of my life, and I have to have my medication. They vouch for it. They've literally created a system where people vouch for the system. They say, I am this, and I need this, and this is how it is. And if you try and take this away from me, I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna say these words at you. I'm the wolf. I'm the wolf protecting my right to exist in this system, and you can't take it away from me. Screw you. That's literally what we've created, and it's crazy because in reality they aren't a wolf.
They're sheep.
You're literally a sheep pretending like you're a wolf.
off camera, Mitch. There she.
He's
All
playing.
right. Like here's it's like how the general person refers to like the average person is the masses or society.
Mhm.
How the elite refer to you, consumer. If you read the books,
Hello.
they're saying the consumer, the average consumer, because that's what they see you as, just a consumption animal.
And that's
So-
what we've allowed ourselves to be as well.
Right, exactly.
Because how many people are actually producing something of value? You know, like, okay, you go to work, but what are you actually producing? You're just producing what the system has told you to produce, right? And then you go home and you consume as much as possible. So yeah, they've assigned you or labeled you as a consumer, but you're fulfilling that role.
Mhm. It's, if we really look at it, when we think of being an artist, whether you're a visual artist, like a painter, or a musician or an actor, when I say a musician, you have images that pop into your head. That's all you're trying to fulfill. You're just trying to live out that image. Just like when I thought of actor, I get some video in my mind and I'm like, yeah, I want that. We're not actually considering, okay, what does it take and what are the consequences? What are the outflows of me focusing on this as opposed to something else? This company, I want to be this kind of person, who an engineer, whatever. It's like you're just trying to be a smart person. You're just trying to be popular. You're just trying to be an icon. You're just trying to be whatever. That's the point of self-honesty that we're pushing. Whatever that thing is for you as you listen to this, that is, I would suggest for those of you who are taking process seriously, put that through your techno tutor. So you can see it objectively. So you can do what Jess was suggesting at the start of looking at, okay, I'm looking for C. And the outcome of C is A plus B plus D plus G. Okay, that's maybe not the best thing for myself. Well, what created C inside of me? Oh, it was X plus Y plus Z. So then you use your writing and forgiveness to let go of the X plus Y plus Z. So then all possibilities exist for you again. Rather than I have to fulfill this thing because I feel like I need to. Right? It feels right. Right? Doesn't KT say, haven't you said blah, blah, blah? That's how you know you're just holding on to some belief. And this is what Drake was saying at the start. If you can't mathematically, and what does mathematically mean? It doesn't mean, oh, crunch the numbers. It means, can you explain? That's what mathematically means. Can you give the reasons? Because you guys ever hear this? I don't have to prove myself to you, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I should have to prove myself to you.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. What is the only time that somebody says that? What's the only time that I've said that or you've thought that, right? We think that when we
Trying
don't
to
want
uphold the belief.
exactly. We're trying to hold on to the belief. Yes, exactly. We don't want to be held accountable, right? Why not? If it is true that somebody's like, you're a fucking, yeah, show me that you're so good. Why wouldn't you be able to show that? It's because you haven't actually created anything real. I don't have to prove myself to you because I have nothing to show. That's the truth. That's the truth. So if you realize for yourself that you just want to focus on your own thing, here's one more point of consideration. There's no such thing as my life. There's nobody, there's no thing that exists in this reality that is independent, right? I want to be a strong, independent woman. There is nobody in this planet who is independent. We are all dependent on everything else in this environment. So there's no such thing as my life. It's our life. We're all participating in this reality. So you can't say my reality. You can talk about your perception, your perspective, right? But don't think that that's who you are. My opinion, my belief. It's not yours. You don't own it. Somebody just gave that to you. You said, okay. That's why you need the ability to discern. That's what vocabulary is for. Vocabulary is the foundation of reason. That's why Mitchell was making this point about how when we're a child is when everything got put into us, because we don't have the vocabulary. Vocabulary is the foundation of reasoning. We don't have the reasoning ability to understand things. That's why everything is emotional and feeling. And that's why you have emotions and feeling now, because you got a bunch of things put into you that you can't explain. But don't think because you can't explain it means that it is unexplainable. They're very different things, right? Because I don't know how it works means it's not for us to figure out. No. So just consider for yourself, where are you thinking that I could just do my own thing because it's my life? Because that's not how you came here. You are just an accumulation of like many, many things, of all the people of the earth that created the food and the people who harvested the food and put it through the distribution centers to get to the grocery store, who sold it to your parents, and parents ate it and they did workouts and made money, and all the people they work with and provided your parents with a job. And then your parents came together, had sex, and that created you. You're not you. You're an accumulation of a bunch of other things in reality. That's what you're affecting. And the point to realize is if you're just thinking it's my life, I should be able to do whatever I want, who cares, like I'm not affecting the world, that is what makes you insignificant. You are accepting that you are a trivial nothing in reality, when that could not be further from the truth. Could not be further from the truth. I'm sure we're going to talk about this in another podcast, but it is your desire to be a unique individual. I'm special. I want to do my own thing. That you end up making your life totally fucking meaningless. Mitchie?
Now, to bring this all together, for those who aren't aware, TechnoTutor, the technology we talk about in every podcast, the reason why we're all together and we're united in this. Do you know what the mission of TechnoTutor is? For anyone listening, I'll spell it out in plain.
Oh shit, I'm not ready to get spelled up. Oh, shit.
TechnoTutor, our destiny is to end child slavery, abuse, and poverty. That's what we're going for every single day. And that is the world that we are creating. And that's what we have people around the world working on every single day to fulfill that reality. So we can have a world where everyone's educated enough and everyone has enough money so that you don't have to sell your kid into slavery. You don't have to abuse your kid because you understand, hey, it makes sense for me to give as I would like to receive. So why would I abuse my kid?
And you know what the funny thing is? Selling your kid into slavery is paying for school.
Yeah.
Except you're actually buying slavery. It's like so fucked.
Yeah.
Selling your kid into slavery is being like, here, system, educate my child. Like, take them away.
Yep. Take away their innocence, everything. And so for those who made it through this far of the podcast, there is a solution. And it is TechnoTutor. It is self-perfected. It's doing DIP. It's applying the principles. And then as this keeps building and we keep growing, we have a political movement. We have plans to implement the equal money system so that for real, in our lifetime, this will happen. Now, what that's going to look like exactly in all the specifics, I don't necessarily know. Someone would be lying if they said they knew all the specifics. But I know enough to know that for the people who are real, for the people who actually stand for principle, that's what this is about. And so, like, comment, and share this episode. Share this one on your social media. I dare you. And join us, because this is the only real thing that I've ever found. And
Comment if you like what Teddy had to share.
Yeah, for real. He was spitting bars today, guys.
Comment if you love Jess's like hillbilly accent.
Next to the mic like this.
Comment if you
When I'm next to the mic.
There it is.
Just
comment if you think we went too savage on this one. Comment if you think we didn't go savage enough.
what
Yeah,
what
let's do that.
accent do you want me to do next?
Yeah, comment what accent you want Jess to do next time.
Yes, and she'll don't do any more. Let them suggest. They'll do it on the next podcast.
I know. I'm just gonna do one of the accents I already
The same
did.
one. That's good. That's smart.
You know, this accent.
Not
Great.
this accent, just not this one. Any accent but this accent, please.
Comment if you want to hear more of that accent or less, or comment if you're not sure.
Comment if you believe
Well.
in Carqueta.
Well, Teddy thinks this accent is great.
Comment if you think we need a Carqueta shirt.
Yeah, so join us for the Self-Perfected Hangouts. We do them every Friday, global hangout, and come connect with real ass people who actually give a fuck.
And who have real asses.
You know it.
All right, we'll wrap it up here.
Next week, everybody.
Hey.